How do you maintain your holiday glow during the holiday season when everything is more stressful than ever before? I am style expert Christine Beauvais, and today I'm going to have a guest, and we're going to talk about all the ways that you can really learn how to operate from the mindset inside and out and help yourself really be calm and relaxed. When we understand the power of our thoughts, the power of moving our bodies, the power of taking care of ourselves during hectic times, then we can learn to look our best and feel our best and have a much more positive holiday season. So I'm going to bring on a special guest. Ashley, if you're there, just hit the request and I will bring you on. Got you. Let's see. I'm waiting for Ashley to come on. Yes, there we go.
Hi, Christine.
Hi, Ashley. It's so good to have you here. I am so excited for my audience to hear about ways that they can improve their energy, ways they can have tools to help them really get through this holiday season, because we know it gets really crazy. The on top of everything already else, on top of finishing their work and doing their things, but there's holiday parties. There's so much going on. You're amazing with your ability to take yoga, movement, mindfulness, meditation, and blend those pieces together to really help women learn how to just calm down internally so that their external, their skin can glow, their hair can be radiant, they can feel confident in what they're wearing. And I want you to share those tools. And first, let's start off with telling everyone a little bit about your work and how you really help women transfer the inside out.
Thank you so much for having me, Christine. And I just really love helping women to feel their best. So that's so much, right? It's like, oh,
Yep.
it's that easy. Well, not really. So I'm a movement, meditation, and mindfulness mentor, a lot of M's there. And I help you live your yoga off the mat. So when you come to your practice, you come to just let it all go, to be calm, to be centered in your being. How do you take that off your mat? So I work with clients in my Ignited Mentorship program to help them create this life courageously. So it is releasing the limiting beliefs. It is showing up more confidently. It is knowing your worth, because sometimes we have a lot of noise coming at us, a lot of people telling us this is the way to do it, that's the way to do it. But what about what feels good for you? So there's so many different modalities that you can try. For me, I love my movement practice, but during the holidays, it gets really crazy. So what are like the 5 or 10 minute morning routines that I can do to just make sure I'm setting myself up for a really good day, like you said, inside and out. So, with all the things that you have going on, what are those daily practices that feel sustainable? And that is what really brought me to where I am today, because I couldn't do it all the time, right? We have so many jobs, we're parents and friends and partners, and we have to do so much for everyone else. Sometimes we come last. So, how can you put yourself first every day so that you can take care of others? And especially around the holidays, like you said, it's hard to kind of reconnect with yourself when there's so much noise and excitement going around. So, it's good stuff, right? But at the end of the day, you can feel really depleted, like, oh my gosh, I just gave to everyone else. And what happened to me? And you just, you know, pass out at the end of the night and you're like, tomorrow's another day. So some of my practices, getting a good night's sleep is number one. It's a game changer. Like, I don't care what anyone says. This is something that will really help you. So if you tend to stay up late, or if it's something that you can't help because you work late hours or whatever it is, I always like to listen to a yoga nidra at the end of the night. So you can find this on Insight Timer. I'm actually going to be sharing one with my meditation group very soon. Yoga nidra is a practice of getting really quiet. It's no movement whatsoever. So it could be a 10-minute to a 30-minute practice, and it is just a guided meditation almost of letting your body calm down, your nervous system relax, and you do fall asleep while you're doing it. So if you can't fall asleep, if you're having trouble sleeping, Yoga Nidra is a great tool, and that's my first tool. So if that is something that you can just plug into your phone and kind of let yourself either at 20 minutes before bedtime or right before you go to sleep, that's one thing that I really like to do, and that has helped me have deeper, more consistent sleep.
And especially doing that, and I have to say this, with taking your makeup off. You have to wash off all your makeup. You have to wash the day off because it's not only just the makeup, it's the pollutants of the air and everything. And so, because a lot of women will sleep in their makeup, and that is really not going to help you to calm yourself down because you're still wearing the day's dirt, if I put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Your nighttime routine is your ritual.
yeah.
It's your time with yourself to like take that, sponge or whatever it is. And like, I like to use the gua sha now because I
Mhm.
find that it's just very meditative. As I'm putting the oil on and I'm doing the gua sha, it's a ritual for me. It's like a way for me to just connect with myself.
Yeah, and it just could feel too like I always feel refreshed once I take my makeup off, once I, have my skincare products on. It just feels like a whole weight just lifted off of me because, all day long, all of that's just kind of gunking up. And, part of just unwinding is cleansing your body. And sometimes some people need the shower at night, depending on that. But it is so important, as you're saying, it's like you want to let go of the day, but don't forget to physically get off the makeup, get into clean pajamas, have your bed all comfy to really set that tone and relax.
I agree. I've always been a nighttime shower person, so I don't know anything else. And I don't know what I do without it. My shower time is like my sacred time. It's a nice hot shower. I know you're not supposed to use hot water, but I do because I love that. And it really is like, get yourself a luxurious soap, right? Like, I'm not saying you have to go break the bank to buy soap, but buy something that, I mean, your aromatherapy in the shower is going to change that whole experience. So not only do you feel clean, but it's almost like a little luxury. Like, oh, I bought this really nice soap for myself and I'm going to take my time and lather it in. It sounds so simple, but it's a mindful shower habit because how much of what we do all day is rush, 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 brush the teeth, rush to eat, rush to get here. Like, have your shower be your sacred time where you literally let the water just cleanse you of everything that was in your day. So you could think about it literally, but figuratively, like, what do you need to wash away from the day so that you can feel like you can sleep better and have this nighttime ritual that feels restorative?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I just recently tried the yoga nidra, and I found it very calming and very relaxing. And I know that for everyone, it's different. Sometimes the tools are just going to be silent music. Sometimes it's just going to be that noise machine. What other tools do you have for people that helps them to kind of really unwind? And is there any movement that they can do that can really kind of de-stress them? Because sometimes we're very tight at night. We've been sitting at the
Mhm.
computer all day. We've been, our hands are, tight. What could they do with the movement at night?
So yeah, there can be kind of like a balance of stillness and movement. So if one of the things that you like to do, if being still is hard for you because it's uncomfortable, right? You don't have to sit on a meditation cushion, but you could take a blanket or a pillow and roll up a blanket and put it under your knees. So your knees are elevated, it's protecting your lower back, and it's just kind of like a different sensation. What I like to use is an eye pillow, and it
Mhm.
just kind of like it has a little weight on it. So like if there's a 5 minutes that you can lay there with that extra pressure, and like I said, either that rolled up blanket or pillow underneath you, this is a restorative pose that makes you really feel held. You could even put blocks under your forearms. So you're kind of supported by props rather than just like jumping into bed. But if you do like a little gentle movement, I don't necessarily recommend it at night. But if you are just getting home from work, instead of like jumping into cooking dinner or just going onto your phone and listening or scrolling for however long, because I think we all get stuck in that trap, just get into something comfortable, sweatpants, loose clothing, roll out your mat. You don't even need a mat really, but it is just these really small movements that you can do to just move the energy. It's less about exercise, it's more about move the stagnant energy. You know, you sat at a desk all day, perhaps, raise the arms up and so I like to envision it as like your palms are up. So you're inhaling positive energy and exhaling, bring the palms down, let going of any negativity, or letting go of negativity or anything that like you need to de-stress from your day. So it's very simple movements. And then if you feel like you have any like digestive issues, or if you want to add a little bit more, when you inhale, come up center, and when you exhale, twist to the right. So your arms still come down, inhale up, exhale down. So you're building a little bit of heat, but it's more of just like a detox from the day, and it's literally moving the energy through your body.
Yeah, that's definitely. I talk about the same thing when if I talk about feng shui. Like you have to have movement in your home, movement in your space. So it's like if you have clutter, things get stagnant, things don't move. So the same thing with moving your body to get that energy and the chi flowing, so that your cells can really reset themselves at night, and then wake up more refreshed and more energized to have a more positive day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, what about the morning routine? And I know there's all these different types of techniques, but what are little things that sometimes, because it's the holiday season and there's a lot more going on, they might not have their usual 30 minutes of time, but what could they do in 5 minutes if they're really cramped for time in the morning?
That's a good question, and I want to revisit a little bit just to back up and clarify the nighttime routine. If you have a lot of thoughts circulating from your day and you're on overdrive, you can write down like the five most important things that you think are really important right now, but actually they can wait till tomorrow. So just writing them down. I'm big on journaling. So like keep a little notebook by your bed. It doesn't have to be like your diary. It could just be the place where you write down the thoughts that you don't want to carry into sleep. So with that, your morning routine, you wake up if you can. 30 minutes earlier is a great time, but if you only have 5 or 10, you wake up gently, like you don't go to your phone at all for the first 10 to 30 minutes because you can't have that overstimulation. So my morning ritual is always making tea. So you put your tea on, you take your journal out, 5 minutes of gratitude journaling, if that even feels like a lot. Like it is a kind of meditation, but it doesn't have to be a full-on guided meditation. So just starting with one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly, and feeling how your breath is in the morning when you wake up, and say your affirmations or your mantras like I am healthy, whatever it is that you want to kind of set the tone for the day. So, whatever works for you, but really find that ritual that you will stick to. The goal is this sustainable? Right? Like you said, if you don't have that 30 minutes because it's already a crazy time of year, what are the 5 minute things that you can come back to? So you can make tea, and not tea is not for everyone. You can journal the 5 things that you are thinking about or grateful for, and then just do your 2 minutes of breathing. All of that can be done in a 5 minute time frame. It just feels more manageable and more sustainable because if you can't get up 5 minutes earlier, is it really going to make that much of a difference? You know, you do want that extra 5 minutes of sleep. You even want to sleep 15 minutes snoozing past your normal wake up time. But this is the thing. If you're not doing it in the morning, if you're not carving out the space, you're already sending this frenetic energy into your day of like, I'm already behind, right?
Yeah.
You're not behind, you're right on time, and you need this 5 minutes because it's going to save you time in the long run. You're going to come back to your breath throughout the day and remind yourself, like, I have a minute to breathe. I don't need to rush to the next thing and check all the boxes because we live these busy lives, but we don't realize the most powerful thing is coming back to the breath and recentering ourselves to kind of get back to what's important.
Yeah. And it's so true that when we set the tone of the day, when we have that intention of having that space and having those clear mindsets and those clear thoughts, and if it's journaling or meditation, I know everyone has a different preference, but it will set the tone as opposed to getting into, like, back in the day, I used to remember waking up to the radio and like the news would go on, like, and maybe it'd hit commercial and I'd be like, oh, I don't want to hear that right now because it would just, I don't want to
Changes
hear the news.
your energy.
And so, our times are very challenging and we have our phones so close to us. And it's just the reminder that even if you didn't do it on Monday, you can do it on Tuesday, you can do it on Wednesday. Like, don't beat yourself up if you're not getting into this morning routine perfectly. It takes time to create the habits.
Yeah.
But know that people are more stressed with a lot more to go on, that they might just quickly eliminate that morning routine. And that really, like you said, can just set the day the wrong way. And
Mhm.
so you really take that time, have your tea, have your water, whatever it is. But the minutes before your children and your husband and everybody who wakes up is your time and you're setting the intentions. You're going to have a more powerful day.
Yeah, I tell the difference when I don't do it. Like I'll go weeks where I'll do my ritual and then like I'll miss a day or I'll skip a day and you know, those days add up and then I'm like, oh, that's why I don't feel so great because I didn't have my morning routine. So I feel the difference and I'm so like into my routines now that I feel it when I don't do it. So I can speak from experience that I know like maybe this week was frenetic. It was a little bit chaotic. And I woke up today, I set my alarm for a half an hour early. What a difference in my energy. And you're going to go through these ebbs and flows. And like you said, like, don't beat yourself up for not doing it one day because it happens. We're human. This is life, right? You can't be perfect because it doesn't exist. But when you start doing a routine that you really like, you will stick with it.
Yeah.
So find what you like because it's more likely that you'll make it a habit and it will be something that brings you joy. It will start your day off with the right mindset and the right energy to continue like doing what you do.
Yeah. And you have to experiment because everybody finds their own routine and there's no one perfect routine. It's finding the routine that works for you, and you won't know until you give something a try. But you can't just try it once and say it didn't work. It's like these things take time, but you have to be persistent and consistent with it and explore, because sometimes you might start out with, sometimes I'm big into journaling and sometimes I'm not, but the meditation
Mhm.
is always there. That's always.
Mhm.
Let's talk about when you're traveling, if you're going on the airplane, which I did this weekend too. And, it's a lot. You're getting on the airplane, you're getting up early, you've got to get into the airport, then you're sitting on a plane for so many hours. That's really taxing on people's bodies. Really,
Mhm.
I mean, I even felt it, like, just, and then you're carrying bags and you might be walking a lot. How can you help talk about ways that when we are having those days of travel, things that we can
Mhm.
we're very limited in our space, in our, atmosphere, but really just getting that shoulder to release, because we tend to carry all that tension up there.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great question. You know, depending on like what time zones you're traveling in, sometimes like jet lag and all that, like no matter where you are, planes are uncomfortable, right? So you want to make sure that you have the most comfortable clothing on, maybe not something that's too constricting, something that's like a loose fitting, so that your body could like literally breathe, so that you can feel like you can move around without feeling so tight, because like even the seats, right, you're very close together, so you want to make sure that you are creating space in your body, because you have this like small space that you're living in the airport and on the airplane. So when you get on the airplane, even like before, when you're sitting, like you said, in the airport waiting, those little checks within your body, I like to do a little box breathing exercise. And this is helping you to kind of release the tension wherever it is you're carrying it. Maybe it's your neck, maybe it's your shoulders. It could just be like you're anxious because traveling makes people like really uptight. So, box breathing is just an inhale for 4, a hold for 4, an exhale for 4, and hold, keep it out for 4. So, you do a few rounds of this box breathing because it's creating space in the body, right? In the breath, because we don't even realize we're holding our breath because we're waiting online, right? And that's how this happens, because we're holding breath. We're like, okay, where do I go next, right? So once you get the breathing down, I like to even do this in my yoga classes. Like one of the warm up routines is just placing your hands onto the shoulders and start to move the elbows back. So the elbows are up and you're just kind of moving the shoulders. You're exaggerating as you're bringing the shoulders back, and then you're doing a few coming forward and
Yeah.
you're alternating, and then you're just like shaking the arms out. You can start to feel like the neck and the this whole area like loosen up, right? So I like to wear a strap. There's in my yoga classes these straps that you put on because it helps with your posture. So you kind of tie it around your back and you are essentially exaggerating this open heart and this open shoulder, because it's going to release the tension. So like pulling it back, and then you tense everything up, and then exhale, let it go. So you tense everything up and then you exhale, exaggerate the letting go. You can also just do some slight neck rolls. I don't like to do a full circle because that could be actually hurt the back of the neck. So just like these little circles, I do them as soon as I get on the plane just to kind of loosen up. I do like that neck pillow, but it doesn't work for everybody. So like, how can you feel comfortable on a plane? I'm sure there's like a lot of different gadgets these days. The neck pillow, it works for me, but if that's something that you're bringing on with you, maybe it's just a different way that you use it, right? It's supposed to go around your neck, but maybe it's just a full-on pillow. Like there's so many little things, but just like we mentioned earlier, it's what works for you, because what works for you might not work for somebody else and vice versa. So I know that it's hard to do this. If you're drinking a lot of water on the plane, you don't want to get up and go to the bathroom as much, but it's really good to get up and walk around if you can. Even if it's just an hour flight, like make sure you make one trip to the bathroom. It's something that you need to move. Like you could even lift the feet up and just roll the ankles a little bit. But that stress is because you're like holding your breath, you're clenching, right? So the breath is going to help you more so than any like physical activity will.
Yeah, and especially on a plane, we're tense. You're getting your seat. You know who you're sitting with, so you're already tensing up, and so it's so important to pay attention to breathing, because then we can just kind of relax ourselves. And maybe you can put on a meditation, or you can put on your favorite music, but like as you're getting into your seat, especially if you're going to be there for a couple hours, like what you're saying, just moving your body if you can. But it's almost like create a routine when you get into that chair so that it's not like you're so tense.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I I love that you can take your tools anywhere you go. You
Mhm.
can really process this at your desk. You can do this on the train. You could do this like any of this type of breathing just to really ground yourself.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like travel can bring up like a lot because you're not grounded, right? You're up in the air. So what are the practices that you can bring with you if you're listening to a yoga nidra on the plane? I love doing that because takeoff can feel like really scary sometimes. So you want something that calms you down. You want to bring your own snacks and things that kind of like are comforting to you so that you can feel like you have something to keep your mind off of like the stress of it. So, what are the things that you're bringing with you, like your tools, right? You said it is something that will save you a lot of stress. I know it's like all these things that you have to think about when you're traveling. So, when I talk about sustainable self care, it's like these are your tried and true. These are the things that no matter where you are in your life, you can always come back to, and that gets you grounded, like you said.
Yeah. And one thing that came up to mind too is when we're traveling, we're eating and we may be rushed eating because we are, having to get to somewhere or we can't really have that sit down meal. So we tend to have indigestion, we have digestive issues. What else could they do to help that, especially if they're having that stress around their digestive issues? And even that kind of being regular because you're not at home and you're not in your own space. Is there movement exercises that they could possibly, do to just kind of get their digestive kind of moving and calm and relaxed?
Yeah, so anything with twisting, right? So if, when you land, you get on a floor somewhere, on a mat somewhere, pull your knees into your chest, give yourself a big hug. You're almost giving your stomach a massage with your knees. And then you bring your knees over to one side while you bring your arms out to an airplane and your head towards the opposite direction. So any time that you're doing a twist, it's for detox and digestion. So anything like that, the higher you bring your knees towards your arms, like the more compression. So that's a good pose to do anything with those twists. And honestly, you have to stay away from the airport food, as annoying as it is. Like that's all that there is. If you have some healthy snacks to bring that can sustain you, we can all eat stuff, when we're in the airport, and maybe it doesn't bother you as much. But I just know, like, when you're traveling, your eating habits are completely different. So instead of stressing about what you're eating and getting upset because you're making it worse, right? The
Yeah.
cortisol is making it stick and you're stressing about it is not helping it. So even if you eat poorly, that's okay. You'll get back to your routine when you're home. But the more you stress about it, that's where you start gaining weight and you start feeling like crap. So if you can just bless it and let it go, and I had to eat this cheeseburger and fries because that's what I wanted, and that's okay. Everything in moderation, but especially when you're traveling, you want to enjoy yourself. You don't want to torture yourself, right? So even just pick foods that you know that agree with you because you don't want to be sick on vacation either.
I know, and I love that. I love that you said that all because it really makes sense if the mindset that we do things in. And I know sometimes one of the biggest challenges is when we're eating too. It's like, you're in a different place, you're eating different foods. You may not know, I know sometimes it's like they might slip ingredients in there that you don't really do well with. Like I'm sensitive to pepper. So if there's pepper in there, forget I have indigestion. So
Yep.
it's kind of like you just want to feel relaxed and calm. But if you eat in that relaxed and calm mindset, then your body is going to digest the food even better.
For sure. And that breathing, even believe it or not, meditation helps with digestion. I don't know what the science is, but I know that it exists, and it is something like mindful eating. So like hopefully you're not rushing to eat your food, although you could be running for a plane or what it is, but try to sit and eat and chew your food. I know it sounds very basic, but how many times are we scrolling while we're eating, right? We're not eating as ritual anymore. Your meal time should be sacred. So in Ayurveda, it's another yogic practice. It's all about like really chewing your food and really having ceremony with your meals because it's better for your digestion, and you're not rushing, you're not distracting yourself, you're actually focusing on the food itself. So that's something that I think is so important when it comes to, being on the run or everything just being rushed. You really have to take a step back and make sure that you are digesting everything properly. So mindful eating, slow eating, all of that.
I love that. And when you were saying that, what came to mind was if you think about the next 2 months, it's like everything is so rush, rush, rush. But you want to look at yourself and you want to say, okay, how am I going to be that calm person, like going through this holiday season and just kind of letting things flow and not, taking them on and not making them yours. It's kind of like you got to just brush off the chi, the bad negative energy, just kind of block it away. And it's that grounding from the inside out.
Right. Yeah. Even to say like, something is bad, like, oh, I ate this, I'm bad, or that food is bad. Like, we kind of have to get rid of that idea that, like, that's bad, right? It's not optimal for you, but just the way that you look at the things that you're eating and, like, how you're interacting with people to be more present and to kind of open your mind a little bit more because everyone's going through something, right? So we don't know like what stresses other people have. We're only focused on our own stresses. So sometimes we forget that everyone else is stressed out too. So then that's when you have these family like gatherings that are just like out of control because everyone's stress is in the same room. But just honoring where you are, taking those deep breaths, and not necessarily labeling something as like, that's not good. I don't want to do that because, right? And just some of these things we can't help, some of the situations that we find ourselves in, right? So how can you said center from the inside out and just coming back to your habits that are going to have to will set you up for success in anything that you're doing. So if you're doing that intentional movement practice, you're setting yourself up to feel good for your day. Your energy is going to be better when you are preparing a meal and going through the beautiful plating of it. Like even these small little things, right? We usually rush to do, and it's part of the process, part of the ritual. So, where can you slow down a little bit? It's the opposite of what we think we need. We have to go faster because we're late, right? When you start to slow down, you actually realize that you're right on time and you don't have to rush so much because you were more mindful and present while you were doing whatever it is.
I love that. I love that it's not about, stressing about if you set your tone in the morning, you won't be rushing to anything because everything will be flowing at its time.
Yes.
Even in situations where you think you're going to be late, a couple of people told me this. I love this little thing where it's like, if you just say what you said, there's plenty of time, I'm right on time, all of a sudden things can shift. And maybe the person you're trying to get to might be held up too. So then you're not late because they were a little setback and you're a little setback. But when you meet, it was perfect
Yeah.
timing.
Yeah. I used to stress so much about being late, and I'm usually the first one there. It's like everyone is battling something, right? So I get frustrated when people are late, but I've learned that, like you said, everything happens in the right timing, and there is no rush.
Yeah.
So just being a little bit more present and mindful about how you're doing things. I have to remind myself that every day. I have a 5-year-old. It's exhausting, and getting ready in the morning it's a struggle. And I'm like, okay, because I got up 30 minutes earlier, I can now like have a mindful morning instead of just rushing. So actually, to speak to that, I'm hosting a free Monday morning meditation moving forward, because I think even starting the week off on the right foot, right? If you can't or you don't have the time to, let's say, don't prioritize the 5 minutes a morning, maybe just Monday morning could set your week off on the right foot. You don't have to, do this every single day if that's not in your time frame, but I think just setting your week off with the right intentions, we will address different things like limiting beliefs, starting out your week with confidence. We'll also talk a lot about clarity, like how to prioritize what you need to do this week, because we're very scattered. We have a lot going on. But again, I can't stress enough how important that morning ritual is.
I've always said that, and that's been natural to me because I've always been a morning person, and I know not everyone's a morning person, but I think you have to find if nighttime's your thing. Sometimes people can do it at night, and that still impacts your morning. But it is really important. So, Ashley, can you tell everyone where they can find this morning meditation that you're doing and how they can learn more about you?
Yes, so you can go to my Instagram, Ashley Napoli Yoga, and there's a link in my bio to sign up for the free Monday morning meditations. It's just 10 minutes of your day, but I will open that up for 30 minutes if you want to stay on and chat, and hopefully maybe find some other community members who are going through similar struggles as you. So that's going to be starting on Monday, November 4th, which is just a few days away. And my mentorship program is live right now. That is the Ignited program, helping you to courageously create the life of your dreams using some yogic principles, sustainable self care practices, and really showing up for yourself in a new way. Sometimes we think that we have to do it all, but as you and I just talked about, like, you have to do one thing at a time, be really mindful about where you're putting your energy, and also know that you're right on time. So I really help you to work on the self-worth piece, and live your yoga off the mat. So I offer private yoga sessions, online meditations, group facilitation of meditations and workshops. And I have a retreat coming up in 2 weeks. If you are a business owner or you're thinking about starting a business, we have 10 beautiful women. We're going to be in Brookfield, Connecticut.
Gorgeous.
We have a master mindset. So it's part mastermind, part mindset, daily yoga and meditation, business strategy and coaching, beautiful meals, sound healing, hot tub, fireside meditation. It's going to be great.
Amazing. And just one last thing, because I am a style expert, I just need to know, where did you get those awesome earrings?
These are my Phoenix Rising earrings from the Kripalu gift shop in the Berkshires. I taught a yoga retreat at Kripalu and I saw them and I was like, I need to have these. They are my favorite.
Okay, I have to emphasize too, this is like where I talk about women and their style and branding your style. Your earrings the whole time were just so aligned with what you do, just that connection to your earth. And I was like, that was perfect alignment. So I love
Oh,
those earrings. They're amazing.
thank you, Christine. They are my favorite. I am just like obsessed with these earrings. Well, I had like a little psychic medium session with this man, Richard Roca. He's amazing. And he told me that I was like a phoenix rising and that I was like entering this new era of my life. And a few months later, I found these earrings. So they were just perfect.
See, I love that because because you took this message that you got and then you were able to find some symbolism of it and then incorporate it into your style. So now even going to a networking meeting, like I'd be like, oh, did you remember that girl who had those really cool earrings? Like that just totally is so on brand. I so love that.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, this has been awesome. And thank you so much, Ashley, for sharing your insights. I'm going to put all her information in the comments. So if anybody wants to reach out, you'll be able to find her website and her wonderful activities that she has going on. And it's so important because these holidays are supposed to be a time of joy, it's supposed to be a time of gathering, and they can be really stressful for so many people. So really think about your energy, where you're putting it, and when you ground yourself in the right way, you're going to have a beautiful holiday season. Your skin's going to glow, your hair's going to radiate. You're just going to be amazing. So thank you for everyone. Thank you, Ashley. Until next time, bye for now.
Bye, Christine. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.